Grand evening, everyone. It is Wednesday, April 1st, 2026. It is 1900 hours and 51 minutes here in Texas, Central Daylight Time. We have a few different things to talk about here tonight: news and recommendations, and personal analysis and military analysis of sorts on all things happening recently. Many of them, anyway. This is initially a live stream recording that is posted to my YouTube channel in the live section when it is done. Please like, comment, share with those you know who are interested and may take preparedness and preparing seriously as SHTF fast approaches. So, this is only posted to my YouTube channel. This is my main YouTube channel. I only have one backup, which is the same name with the 02 at the end. Though I have not posted anything there. This is the main and only place this live stream and others are posted that I know of. Okay, so getting into the news and more. We have this here. This person's very Russian. I think he's in the Russian military or something. Alexei the Great, he calls himself there on X. He said that Russia has reportedly sent a Belgorod-class nuclear submarine carrying Poseidon doomsday torpedoes to the North Atlantic Ocean. That's this here. That is I believe that's a totally real photo of that doomsday submarine. And I think there's only one or two of them. There's not many of those that I know of. The Belgorod class, that doomsday submarine, it is carrying those Poseidon doomsday torpedoes on it, as it says there, and just one of those could cause a radioactive nuclear tsunami that could wipe out the DC area, a lot of the East Coast around it. Anywhere they target it, it could absolutely wipe out a city with a radioactive large tsunami. That is what that does. So we will see exactly what they do with that, or if they threaten with it, anything of that sort. That is one of the largest threats to this country if they put it off, say, the East Coast, right off of DC. That's why I made the cover much like the DC area in ruins with the water and the US and the Russian flag. Mainly because of this here, it would look something like that. Uh, I don't know if even the Capitol building in the background would stand after the radioactive nuclear tsunami. So very concerning. Really something. Hmm. we have the president about to speak. He's about to have a another address very shortly. I think that's on routers mainly and some other sources. The US President Donald Trump is going to speak within the next mm, few minutes or within the next hour. It's a lot of the time when he goes out and speaks, it's an hour after the time. So continuing on, we have this here from BRICS News and Russia, the Russian Foreign Minister himself, Lavrov. Okay, so the Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov said this.
And what we're witnessing now has all the indicators of escalating into a broader conflict that some have already dubbed World War III. And what we're witnessing now has all the indicators of escalating into a broader conflict that some have already dubbed World War III. And what we're witnessing.
So that's what he said himself. What we are witnessing now has all the indicators of escalating into a broader conflict. Some have already dubbed World War III. It is World War III. Um, he acknowledges that everything is there's a lot of there's every indicator right now is what he's saying. It is indicating that this conflict will broaden and become even more of a total war. That is what the Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov is saying. That is real. That is him saying that. It's not AI or anything like that. That's Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov saying what he says there in those quotes. Everything, all the indicators are everything that we are seeing now has all the indicators of escalating into a broader conflict. Some have already dubbed World War III. So he's saying that things, all the indicators are showing that this will escalate even broader than where it is now. And he acknowledged that some people are saying, many people are saying, and calling what is happening now World War III. That is what he's saying. The Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov. And we have this massive threat to big tech. All the US technology companies, the big ones in the Middle East, where they have their companies out there. This is from Raw News Alerts, and I'm sure other sources. Iran has issued a serious warning that it may target U.S. technology companies across the Middle East, including Apple, Google, Meta, Nvidia, Oracle, Tesla, HP, Intel, IBM, and others, describing them as a threat. So they are going to target all of those companies. They're going to target and destroy all of those companies there in the Middle East. So that could cause some serious damage to big tech overall. And all of those companies that are listed there, we could see massive outages and cyber attacks on all of those companies. Microsoft, that's a big one. It's even the operating system that I use mainly. They could cyber attack that. and shut down and cause all sorts of disruptions with that. NVIDIA, they create the GPUs like their RTX cards. They make all of that and the chips and stuff for the AI. They're one of the largest companies for that. Uh, Tesla, that's also huge. There, it's just massive. Even Google itself, they intend to destroy. So they intend to destroy all those countries that are listed there. Not countries, companies. They intend to target all of those companies there in those Middle Eastern countries, and I'm sure beyond that, they're going to absolutely target all of those companies there. Tesla is another big one. That would be a direct hit against one of the main companies Elon Musk owns. Uh, so that's huge. That's going to cause a lot of disruptions and shutdowns to do with all of those companies there. Those are some of the largest and most important companies in the world. So, yeah, that's enough mixing up countries and companies. Those are some of the most important companies in the world, and they are all going to be targeted by Iran and their allies. It just says Iran, it will be their allies, such as the Chinese and potentially the Russians, I'm sure. That's what I think. This here, the Canada British Columbia Union calls for full-time work from home due to spiking gas prices. So the gas has become very expensive, and it seems they have some kind of shortage there. You would think if they're calling for full-time work from home. Not every job can do that. That's how it causes so many more problems because not every job can work from home. Uh, Builders need to go out and build, and uh, these diesel trucks need to deliver to the stores. So when the fuel shortages start happening more and the diesel runs out more and the DEF, there will be no large box trucks delivering to the stores and no gas vehicles, those gas trucks that hold all the gas or the oil and the gas. There'll be no oil and gas vehicles delivering to where they need to get to as well. Though we have this here that is very relevant to that. Japan has had a breakthrough and they have succeeded in producing oil from water and carbon dioxide. That's one of the largest problems with the global system and society now is free energy has been so restricted and held down and hidden away from from humanity. Japan is is making they're putting out this like free energy solution, producing oil from water and carbon dioxide. That's all it takes for that. They released a free energy way of doing it that's been hidden from humanity for thousands of years. They've been hiding things like this from humanity for a very long time. And they is mainly the Vatican and the deep state and the people who even President Trump answer to. A lot of them are those two that I named. They have a lot to do with who he actually answers to. He's not in charge of a lot of things. He's not in charge of so much as many people believe. There's people that tell him what to do. And if he doesn't, they'll they'll set him up or something of that nature. So he answers to others. There's people that he even answers to. The President of the United States, which, yep, he is speaking right now. I'm sure he's lying. I'm seeing that he's lying as expected. It doesn't matter what he says. You got to watch what he does. He lies very often. He's quite a pathological liar. You got to watch what he does. He's a politician nonetheless, so he lies and lies for himself and government continuity and national security reasons. That's why he so often lies when he goes out and speaks. You got to watch what not just President Trump says. You got to watch what he does and other world leaders do and not what they say. Then we have another nuclear indication here. So this person, Andrew Bridkin, I'm not sure how to say his last name. I think it's Bridkin. So Andrew here, he said, I have received information from several credible sources indicating that Israel is prepared and indeed preparing to use nuclear weapons in its war with Iran. If this is the case, Iran is not the only place that urgently needs regime change. What do you think? So that's what he said. That is what Andrew there said. We have another indication of imminent nuclear war. And it looks like Israel is going to be the one using the nuclear weapons more than the US even right now. So either Israel or the US, probably both. It is looking like they're going to use nuclear weapons, and I believe they'll use them on Iran's underground. They have a underground missile subway system under 1,400-foot mountain, under a 1,400-foot mountain or mountains. I'm not sure how many of them they have, though there's one that has been an example recently, and it has a dead zone that cannot be breached by conventional bunker busters. As you could see here, I talked about this last time. This is what the US and or Israel will have to bomb and destroy. It's either they use nuclear weapons to absolutely destroy the 1,444-foot deep missile subway system with a granite dead zone that's higher than the Empire State Building. They'll have to use nuclear weapons on that. Or they could somehow try to do a massive ground operation with thousands of special forces and logistics movements to deal with that. It's one of the two to deal with that. Conventional weapons don't work on places that are over 1,400 feet deep with a granite dead zone. Cheyenne Mountain is a great example that could survive many nuclear explosions. Cheyenne Mountain in Colorado, the one of the main U.S. doomsday bunkers over there. It's deep. It has a dead zone much like that. It's just so built for apocalyptic situations, especially nuclear war. That was like its original main build purpose, nuclear war survival. A lot of people say its overall purpose is a geophysical event survival, which is potentially and arguably worse than nuclear war. And then I put this here. I uh, I told Gruck to do this to show people um, more in detail. So at $5 per gallon, filling 17 gallons costs $85. At $10 a gallon, it costs $170. So expensive diesel or shortages, that hits trucking, shipping, and farming hard, raising costs for food, goods, and everything moved by truck. Supply chains slow, store shelves empty, and prices spike across the board as businesses pass on the pain. Shortages can grind logistics to a halt, causing delays, factory shutdowns, and broader economic ripple effects. So that's what happens when all that happens more. The expensive diesel or shortages, that's what happens with all that. That's truthfully and really what will happen as that continues on more and more. So keep that in mind too. We are nearly, and in some places already, it is $5 per gallon for fuel. So vehicles that have 17-gallon gas tanks or around there, so it's going to be 80 to $85, maybe slightly more or less, where it's $5 per gallon for fuel. It is nearly $4 per gallon for fuel here, which is over $70, I believe, to fill it at some gas stations, to fill most vehicles. Then we have this insane news here. Um, a California startup, R3 Bio, revealed to be working to grow um, headless human clones for organ harvesting. Then we have some context thing they put here. It says they are not growing headless human clones and they deny any intent to create them. So they're saying it is developing non sentient organ systems from monkey cells as alternatives to animal testing. They're trying to say there's no evidence of human or large animal cloning. Uh, so they are creating, at minimum, some kind of non sentient organ systems from their more official uh, context. People on here are saying that they're doing that, making some kind of organ systems from monkey cells as alternatives to animal testing. Very strange, very. That's one of the craziest things I've seen recently. then we have this here. Apparently, for the President of the United States speech that he's saying right now, probably mostly lies. Again, watch what he does, not what he says. Though apparently all major broadcast TV networks will be interrupting their programming to air President Trump's address tonight. So apparently they had all major broadcast TV networks interrupt their programming to hear him mostly lie and say delusional things, not truthful statements for the most part. It's just it simply goes back to watch what he does, not what he says. And we have Iran. This is from First Squawk. Iran has reportedly struck Amazon servers in Bahrain. So Iran has started the strikes on all of those companies, mainly Amazon, as we could see there. They have struck Amazon servers in Bahrain. So the internet is a global connected thing. So and servers, much of the internet and servers, it's all connected in some kind of global way. So even if it's in the Middle East, it will have an effect globally. So Iran striking Amazon servers is going to have a massive effect on Amazon servers overall and on Amazon globally. So when they hit things like that and those companies, it has an effect on the world in a global way. Not just, it's not, nothing that's going on over there is entirely isolated to the Middle East. It is a global system, so there are global problems. Speaking of another massive problem, we have, it seems, famine beginning. When there is war, there is famine. The price of ground beef has surged to an all-time high. So that means beef, and especially ground beef, is now extremely expensive, and the prices of food are rising as well as the price of oil. So the price of oil and food are rising drastically by the day. Shortages are also rising by the day. The possibility for nuclear war is rising by the day. So keep on preparing physically, mentally, spiritually. I always recommend physical assets, especially now learning the skills that will be needed for the time to come, for quite some time, a long time. It will get better eventually after the main part of this massive war that humanity may barely survive, though humanity will survive. And on the other side of all the war, there will be decentralization and free energy, much more than even what the Japanese are putting out there. So keep on preparing, survive until that time and beyond it, to live better than ever before. It will be an unprecedented time of prosperity and decentralization. Keep on preparing. Do not get complacent. And once again, please like, comment, and share this video to others you know who may be interested and will take preparedness and everything that is going on very seriously. Love, light, and blessings to you all. I will be back soon with further news and personal analysis. Much of the same thing as we talked about here tonight, though even newer and further breaking news and the like. I will be back soon on Sunday sometime. I would say Sunday night around the same time. I will come on even before that in emergency situations. Once again, love, light, and blessings to you all.